In this video, I want to discuss why I believe that problems and suffering are only made up in our mind, and I don't think they're real at all. And that knowing that can free you and it can give you a lot of control over your life and your emotions, especially if you're dealing with excessive blushing. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Colin Clem. I dealt with excessive blushing for over 10 years. It held me back from a lot in life. I was a good student and I thought, I was confident and got along with everybody, but I had this excessive blushing that I was so afraid of and so embarrassed of that I constantly lived in anxiety and I wouldn't do the things that I wanted to do. I wouldn't participate when I knew the answer. And, it just held me back from doing normal social events. And so one day I decided enough was enough and I overcame this. And since then, I've spoken on stages in front of over 1,500 people. And it's been over 6 years since I've like fully overcome this. And it's never been an issue since. I don't find it embarrassing. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I truly don't even think about it. Uh, so what I do now is I teach how I did that, and I teach other people to go through the same process so that you can take back control of your life. And I give away all my content for free. I do run a paid coaching program called Breakthrough Blushing University. It's super affordable. There should be a link somewhere to join it, and that gives you an opportunity to not do this alone. It's a guided program. It gives you the steps, and there's a community around you, and then I can give personalized feedback along the way as well. So highly recommend giving it a shot. You can cancel anytime. Super affordable, so it's super low risk, but you can still get all my content for free online if that's what you want to do as well. But in this video, I wanted to talk about problems. And I love this idea recently that I've had that problems only exist because you deem them to be problems. Suffering only exists because you wish reality was different than what it is. You have some fantasy world made up in your mind that you wish was true, but it's not. And that dissonance between that fantasy world and where you are is what's causing your discontent. That is what's causing your pain. And so I came to this conclusion recently as I've been having some very intense negative emotions myself. And I've been analyzing them and realizing that it's because I feel this sense of urgency to achieve some unrealistic expectation that is mostly out of my control. And that has been the source of my pain. And what I've realized is that by simply adjusting that expectation in my mind, I can lose the pain. Like if I can stop believing that I need to have this by tomorrow, or else I'm a failure. Like if I believe that, I'm asking to be miserable. But when I bring it back down to reality and I change the expectation that I have for myself and I change it to things that are in my control and totally doable, then I create the opportunity to make myself proud by closing that gap and becoming a little bit better. And so how this applies to blushing in particular is that you currently, I'm going to guess, believe that you shouldn't blush or believe that you need to blush less or you believe that blushing is something to be embarrassed about. And I'm here to tell you, as somebody who suffered from blushing for 10 years, this problem, this blushing problem, is only a problem because you deem it to be a problem. You are choosing to give the blushing meaning in your life. You are telling yourself that this blushing makes you look weak, that it makes you look unconfident, that it makes you look like you like somebody, or that you're conveying that the message that you're weird, or whatever it is. You have some message that you think this blushing is conveying about you. And you are so worried about that message that you don't think about anything else. And so, what I want to explain in this video is just that suffering is made up in your mind. And there's a few reasons for it. So, first, people don't really think what you think they think. Like, You think that this makes you look weak or whatever, right? Insert whatever adjective that you think this blushing makes you appear like. And if you were to ask people, one, most people wouldn't even notice. They'll be like, "Oh, you do?" Or two, they're like, "Oh, no, I just thought that was," like, they don't even think about it. They're like, "Yeah, that I noticed that. I noticed that you do that," but like they didn't even, it doesn't even register for them that this is a problem for you. And that's good. You shouldn't be like, "Oh, you don't even know." That, like, going into that victim mindset doesn't help. Listening to that, the fact that people don't even realize this is a problem for you, is good, because it means you're the one making it a big deal. You're the one making it a big deal. And so you need to understand that most people don't even notice. The people that do notice barely notice, and they don't prescribe meaning to it. They don't say, "Oh, he's blushing, therefore he is weak. Oh, he's blushing, therefore he is weird." No one, like, people don't think that. There might be a handful of people. And so you're choosing to listen to that handful of people instead of the 95% that aren't saying that or don't even notice. You're giving a lot of power to a select group of people over your life. And so I'm kind of getting off the main point of the video, of that problems only exist in your head. But you are essentially thinking the problem is larger than it is, and you think that you need to be existing as somebody that doesn't blush, and that if you blush, you are unconfident, or you are insert synonym here. But that's just not true. And so you're going to blush for the rest of your life. Blushing is simply a stress response. And so some people, it shows more than others. Period. That's it. It's not like some people it shows more than others, therefore it makes them look weak. Like, you're making up that second half in your head. That is totally made up in your head. And if somebody once told you that, like, that's that one person. And oftentimes, the person that told you that, would you get advice from them? Like, do you actually respect their opinion? It's like, if you don't respect their opinion, don't listen to their criticism, you know? And so we're choosing to believe that the world exists in a way that it doesn't. And that's what causes our pain. Um, and I think what you like to turn this into tangible steps is that the reality that you wish was true should not be that you wish to become somebody who doesn't blush. You have to choose a reality that is within your control, because blushing is not in your control. And the more that you try to control it, the more that you actually increase your stress and cause more of it. You need to change the reality that you're striving for, or the fantasy, I should say, that you're striving for. And that fantasy shouldn't be based on how you appear. That's a terrible way to live. Truthfully, as somebody who suffered from blushing for 10 years, is I cared more about the way I looked to other people than the way that I acted. And that is the source of the pain. Is instead of giving yourself credit for doing things, you only care about the way that you look when you do them. So, like, start judging your success based on your actions, because that's what's in your control. So the reality that you should be striving for is not someone who doesn't blush. It should be someone who can face their fears even though they are blushing. And so all of a sudden, when you go into a social situation, you're not like panicked and embarrassed about the fact that you're blushing. Instead, you're playing a different game now. You're playing the game of, I am proud of myself. This is a win because I'm here. I'm standing in front of somebody who I wouldn't have talked to last week because I was way too scared to talk to them. And it's when you start doing that is when you start taking back control of your life, because you stop letting this blushing stop you from doing things. And you stop living in this misery of wishing the world existed in a way that it's impossible to exist. So you can get surgery if you want to achieve that reality, but you're taking the shortcut. And it's not a shortcut to a better life, because you're still you care more about the way you look to other people than you care about your own actions and making yourself proud. even if you don't blush anymore. You're willing to change your physical appearance just to satisfy some made up imaginary opinions that you think other people are making. And so it's just that's why I'm very strongly against that. You do you. Like if you want surgery, you can do it. But I am strongly against that for that reason. I think you're giving a lot of people a lot of power and you're not giving yourself enough. And so what the whole point of this video, I keep getting off tangent, but suffering's made up in your mind. And so today, from here on out, you have to stop judging your success on trying to be someone who doesn't blush. That will never happen. You have to judge your success on whether or not you can face your fears, even though you know you are going to blush. Because those moments, they stop being embarrassing and they start being pride. They start being proud moments because all of a sudden it's bringing you closer to the person that you want to become. It's bringing you closer to that reality or to that fantasy world that you wish was reality. So stop trying to strive to be someone that doesn't blush because you will never get there. And that dissonance between where you are and where you want to be is your problem. That is the source of all of your pain. And so when you can change your direction and you can start changing the fantasy world that you're striving for, and you change it to something that is in your control, which is your actions, and you start striving to be someone who can take control of their life, of somebody who can raise their hand or they can go up to the person, even though they are afraid. And then you do that, and you've closed the gap between your reality and fantasy. And when you close that gap, that is when you stop feeling as much pain. It will take time to close that gap. Your instincts will are naturally over here. You have to consistently remind yourself you're not striving to be somebody that doesn't blush anymore. You have to constantly break down that old belief, that old desire of yours. And you have to remind yourself of the new person that you're trying to become, of somebody who can face their fears, of somebody that can be courageous, because that's the only thing that's in your control. And you stop. What's amazing is that when you go into these social situations, you're not as worried about how you look anymore. And so other people's opinions matter less and less and less. And even if somebody, this is the best part, even if somebody says something, points it out, you're like, I know I'm blushing. I'm facing my fear. Like this used to stop me and now it doesn't anymore. Like if you respond like that, like that feels good. That is a good response. What doesn't feel good is acting like it's something to be so embarrassed about, and you're building up this old belief that this is something to be embarrassed about and that you shouldn't be seen blushing, and that is how it has control over your life. Is that alternate reality that you wish was true that's impossible. And so you just have to switch directions. And you have to just change the reality that you're striving for. Okay? And so you could see in this video, I am blushing myself, right? It's not a problem. That is not a problem. It's only a problem because you deem it to be a problem. And so when this happens to me now, which still happens, I'm not in pain. I'm not in pain right now. Even if I had a bunch of people around me, I'd just be happy that I'm sharing my voice, that I'm not letting it stop me. If somebody tries to judge me on this, I'd be like, do you have better things to do? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm saying this, and I'm not trying to say this is an easy process. Like it's difficult. It took me 2 years, but that is what you need to do. That's the only way to overcome this. It's only a problem because you think it's something to be embarrassed about and that it's something to be afraid of. And you have to consistently face that fear, break down the old belief, build up the new one, and that's how you overcome this. So pain is all made up in your head. You're striving for a reality that's impossible. And that is where all of your suffering is coming from. And so you just have to change that reality and work towards it. And eventually it will become true and your pain will be gone. So that's it for this video. Again, if you're suffering from excessive blushing and you want to take back control of your life, I have a group sort of coaching program to guide you through the process so you don't have to do it alone. It'll help you overcome this much faster, easier, and more enjoyable than trying to do it by yourself. So if that interests you, it's super affordable. Click the link. There should be one somewhere. And you can get in the community, and I'll say hello so that you can get on your way and you can start overcoming this so much faster. So if you enjoyed this, you'll enjoy the community because I talk a lot about this stuff. So for those of you who are already in the community, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.